Intermittent fasting helped me cure bad eating habits I didn't even know I had. I love intermittent fasting. Obviously, I've been doing it for years now. And when I look back on my weight loss journey, I realized that there were some really bad eating habits that I had that intermittent fasting made me aware of and cured me of. And so today I wanted to talk about what those things were and the better habit that I got into because of intermittent fasting. The first and probably worst bad habit that I had was emotionally eating. Now, I was vaguely aware that, I tended to feel hungrier when I was stressed, and that my husband, on the other hand, tended to feel less hungry when he was stressed. But I didn't realize the extent to which I was just emotionally eating when I was obese. When I started intermittent fasting, I realized just how pervasive this habit had gotten. I realized so many times, because I was in my fasting window, how often, I would start to feel really hungry simply because I was stressed. And really the biggest thing to me was how real the hunger felt. When I was obese, I really thought I was always eating because I was hungry. But when I started intermittent fasting, I realized how often it wasn't true hunger that was happening. It was stress, and it just looked like hunger. And since I was committed to intermittent fasting and I was just dead set on not eating during my fasting window, I had to get into a better habit, which was to take action on the thing that was stressing me out, to actually try to make the situation better as opposed to just eating my feelings. And so what that looked like for me was learning how to talk things out, learning how to journal things out, and then also actually make the situation better, figure out, okay, this is stressing me out, so I got to figure out a better way to go about this. Number 2 is boredom eating. This one really surprised me. I wouldn't have called myself in the past like somebody who was lazy or somebody who would just eat because they're bored. But man, intermittent fasting, being in that fasting window and realizing like so many times I would just be bored and I would just want to eat. And because really, eating is easy. It's easy to go in there and grab a snack because it just takes less effort and it's, fun to eat. But, when you're fasting, you can't eat. So I had to start to cultivate new interests, which took more effort, figuring out things I could learn and actually doing those things as opposed to grabbing a snack and just sitting there eating. But it was a better habit. Number 3 is just taking food for granted. I was in a really bad habit of just kind of scarfing down food and just eating it. I wasn't even really tasting it. I was just scarfing down the food. And I really wasn't even being all that grateful for it. It had just become this thing that I would just, stuff in my mouth. But with intermittent fasting, I started to really appreciate food because, it wasn't like I just ate all the time. There was a period of time where I would not eat, and that made me really appreciate the times when I did eat. I also started pausing and being really grateful for the food. And while I was eating, I was actually tasting the food and really enjoying it as opposed to just scarfing it down. Number 4 is overeating. When I was obese, I was constantly eating to the point of absolute misery. And I don't, at the time I thought, why do I continue to do this? Why can't I seem to get control over my eating? And what I realized was, at one point, eating was the most exciting part of my day, and it was really kind of the best part of my day, but also in what seems to be kind of a contradiction, it was also the most stressful part of my day because I kind of felt like every time I'm eating, I'm getting more overweight, and it was always like this huge battle in my head, but at the same time, I really loved food, and so it was very complicated, but it is what it is. With intermittent fasting, I started to have more control over myself, I would say, like more self-discipline, and with that self-control, I think I just gained more control over stopping when I felt full. And really, I think I became even more of a student of that, finding that mark of when I'm actually feeling full when I went to straight up OMAD, 1 meal a day. That was a point where I really started to have to define that line between, eating to the point of being full but not overly full, and really paying attention to that has made it so that I don't overeat. So now I habitually just eat until I'm full and not overly full. And number 5 is procrastinating. This one I think is the most insidious of all the habits that I had. I really never realized how often I would be procrastinating on something by just eating, because it always seemed like a valid excuse, like, well, I'm hungry right now, so I need to go grab a snack or whatever the thing is. But when you're intermittent fasting, it's like that's completely off the table. So then you have to say, I don't really have a good reason to not take action on this thing. The fasting window is just an excellent opportunity to be really productive. So intermittent fasting taught me how to stop procrastinating and just take action on those things that I was delaying. That's my list of 5 bad eating habits that intermittent fasting helped me with. And I'm curious to know, have you noticed intermittent fasting helping you with other bad habits? Leave it in the comments below. Okay, thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it helpful. If you're currently trying to lose weight and you're just having a hard time, check out my Slow and Steady Success Academy. There you'll find a course called Intermittent Fasting for Weight Loss 101, where I take you through the entire process from start to finish and how to implement intermittent fasting successfully in your life for weight loss. The link is in the description. The All Access Pass to Slow and Steady Success Academy is a monthly subscription plan that gets you access to every course that is currently available in this academy, as well as any that will become available in the future. Also, you'll get access to our private All Access Pass members only Facebook group.